Good morning. This is Grassroots Rising, and I'm your host, Jimmy Skogard. The other day I saw an image that kind of stopped me cold. It was a glowing figure, staged posture of healing. Our leader framed in a light above the rest of us, as if the message was simple. Trust me, I alone can fix this. It was just one more meme in an endless stream of digital performance. This one said something a little louder, a little too much. Something our politics now hints at. Trust the image, accept the script, follow the cue. And that's what concerns me. Beneath that meme, beneath that spectacle, beneath the endless stream of slogans, outrage, and polished certainty, one question remains. Do we still believe that ordinary people have the agency, the judgment, and the responsibility to help govern our own lives? Do we want leaders who reach out, listen, gather the conscience of the people, and represent it faithfully? Or do we want a model where a leader performs certainty, hands us a conclusion, and asks us to plod on cue? That's the question, and it matters because the tools to represent people honestly exist right now. We live in a time where a representative can gather input from thousands of citizens in real time. We can survey, compare, verify, aggregate the concerns of the people more easily than any point in our history. We can build digital town halls, we can organize local conversations, we can collect thoughtful feedback from working parents, veterans, small business owners, teachers, nurses, ranchers, and students. We can do the hard work of listening. The tools are here. The path is clear. What remains is the will to use them. Too much of modern politics is built to shape our thoughts instead of gather them. Too much is built to manage perception instead of representing conscience. Too much of it invites us to become an audience when our calling is citizenship. And we know how this works. A phrase gets tested, a claim gets repeated, an image gets sharpened, a fear gets targeted, a grievance gets fed. After enough repetition, a false idea starts to feel familiar, and the familiarity begins to pass for truth. The mind relaxes around what it's heard before. That ease becomes acceptance. That acceptance becomes habit. That is one of the great dangers of our age. And now let's add the algorithm. Our digital world is built to reward engagement over wisdom. It studies what stirs us, what angers us, what keeps us clicking, and then feeds us more and more of the same. It reinforces what we already lean toward and buries what we might challenge. As we select and repeat those messages, that loop tightens, the conclusion sinks deeper, the world grows narrower, and the citizen grows reactive. The audience becomes easier to manage. When psychology, programming, and political messaging all pull in the same direction, spectacle starts to look like leadership. I grant this much. The machine is good at what it does. That truth calls us to wake up to our responsibility. Self-government lives through practice. It grows through attention, patience, and the willingness to participate, even when participation feels inconvenient. It grows when we ask questions instead of swallowing scripts. It grows when we verify before we share. It grows when we expect more from anyone asking to carry our voice. Freedom grows through participation. Real representation begins with listening. A healthy government rises from a watchful, engaged people. That's why I keep coming back to the Constitution. It's not a slogan. It's our inheritance. For generations, that document has helped guide this country forward because it begins from a hard truth. Power must be limited, divided, and held accountable. The 10th Amendment still reminds us that the powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states and to the people. That principle matters because it reminds us where power begins. It begins close to home. It begins with us. We carry that inheritance with care. We claim our role with confidence. We bring our judgment, our conscience, and our voice to the work of self-government. What I want is simple. I want a new standard of representation. I want leaders who ask better questions. I want systems that gather the actual thoughts of the people. I want technology used to deepen participation and strengthen that shared understanding. I want public service rooted in humility, not spectacle. I want a politics that builds instead of constantly tearing at the social fabric that holds our children's future together. The divisive topics that dominate our screens every day do not deserve center stage, the stage of forever. Repetition keeps us reactive. Repetition keeps us tired. Repetition keeps us divided. Meanwhile, the work of governing, listening, building, and repairing waits for our attention. Now is the time to change that. We need a politics of positivity, of responsibility and construction. We need representation that sounds less like a sermon from on high and more like a conversation at the kitchen table. We need citizens who remember that the point of government is to serve the people who built it, not tear it down. I come back to one honest question. Do we still believe in self-government? Because when the answer is yes, our next steps are clear. We ask questions. We show up. We take part. We choose leaders who listen before speaking to us. We build tools that help citizens speak in their own voices. We reclaim our responsibility to govern ourselves. If you feel that responsibility stirring in you, then rise with me and ask one honest question this week. Ask it in a coffee shop. Ask it online. Ask it at a public meeting. Ask anyone seeking office whether the job is to shape your conclusions or to represent your conscience. Because agency means the ability to decide our future for ourselves. We still hold that power, but only if we use it. Our children and our grandchildren's legacy is in our hands now. Join the movement at ScoGuard2026.org. I thank you for listening to me today, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.